Hello again, everybody. We're winding down to the final films on my list of films I saw at the Chicago International Film Festival. And before we get to the review, I want you to take a look at the trailer, and while you're watching the trailer, I want you to think about a few things. What was it like for you growing up during your teen years, from 7th grade through senior year in high school? What were some of the experiences that you liked? What didn't you like? Do you have any regrets? And what did you learn while you're growing up through those teenage years? So think about those things while you're watching the trailer, and then when you get back, I'm going to give you my thoughts and review of the film, The Myth of the American Sleepover. Now that you've finished watching the trailer, I'm going to tell you a little bit about David Robert Mitchell's The Myth of the American Sleepover. Now, this story is a coming-of-age story and ending of summer story about 4 teens. Maggie, Rob, Scott, and Claudia. They each look for adventure on their last night of freedom. Each of them has their own story where they deal with and learn a little bit about growing up. And each of their stories have a different lesson for each of them. Their stories do interact with each other without interfering with each other's storylines. Very subtle in the background of each other's storylines. And the story is taught with a mixture of everybody's storylines put together at different times. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about each character. Now, with how unique this movie is, I'm going to actually give you a little summary of each of the 4 main characters' stories. We're going to start off with Rob, played by Marlon Morton. He goes to a grocery shop early in the movie with his mom, wanders off a little bit, and sees this beautiful blonde girl that he's never seen before, doesn't go to his school, and this girl's played by Mary Wardell, I believe, and he falls head over heels for her. And throughout the whole movie, he's trying to find this girl. It's one of those love at first sight, and he's trying to find this all of a sudden, this lost love throughout the whole movie. He hangs out with the guys, with some of his friends for a guy's sleepover. Except guys don't call it a sleepover. Anyway, so they're hanging out, and of course the guys are trying to be the mature guys. We're getting older, we're adults. So they decide to watch a horror movie that's practically rated R with nudity, sexual content. Now, you don't see any of that, but it's probably some of that stuff. And they make dirty jokes, yada yada yada. And then later in the night, they decide they're gonna go around egging people in their neighborhood. Yeah, they're still kids. But throughout the Rob story, he learns a little bit more about love versus like, and also finding out that sometimes what you're looking for can be right in front of you. You just need to see it. So that's Rob's story, very simple. And all these stories are very simple. It's just how they are told and stretched out and intertwined, not just in the way the movie's cut, but also the interactions and how the stories intersect just a little bit. Makes it more interesting. Let's move on to Claudia's story, played by Amanda Bauer. She's a new girl in school that wants to make friends and is invited to a girls' sleepover. Of course, the girls are trying to be also the mature, trying to be more adult. They're drinking and smoking a little bit, and partying. And later on in the night, Claudia finds the diary of the host, which I think the girl who's hosting the sleepover is Julie, I believe, played by Seimetz. So Claudia finds his diary, reads it, and finds out that her boyfriend secretly cheated on her with Julie. So Claudia, full of emotion and everything, decides to get revenge by using a Ouija board game to trick Julie's boyfriend to go down to the basement with her to talk to the spirits, and she ends up putting the moves on him. And then of course Julie and her friend come downstairs, see what's going on. Chaos ensues, drama. And there's Claudia's story. She learns more about the pains in relationships and how difficult they are. Nothing's ever always perfect. So I think that's what her character learns in that part of the movie. Next up, we move on to Maggie, who's actually the first character shown on screen. Maggie's played by Sloma, and the movie actually starts off with Maggie and her friend at a outdoor pool, and they're talking about this guy that Maggie seems to have a crush on, this junior who's a lifeguard at the pool by the name of Steven. Now Steven invites her to a party that he's holding, and Maggie drags a friend along and ditches the girl's sleepover that she was supposed to go to, and hangs out and parties with Steven. Of course, there's drinking at the party, late night beach party kind of thing. But through her interaction with Steven, she learns the importance about actually growing up. One of the key quotes, I can't remember it exactly, and I had to actually look through the trailer again to catch the quote, and it's not even the full quote. I'm just going to tell you what I could remember from the trailer, but the quote was a very interesting one, because it was talking about how there's the illusion of growing up is also distracts you from your childhood. It takes away your childhood. What he says is, they trick you into giving up your childhood with all these promises of adventure. Then once you've realized what you've lost, it's too late. Can't go back. And in a way, that's kind of true, because when you get to your teen years, it's more of, I want to be grown up, I want to do this, I want to do that kind of thing, and then you lose a lot of your childhood. He talks about how even though he's that much older, he misses, like, Saturday morning cartoons and a lot of things kids do, because kids have a lot less to worry about than adults, for sure. But when you're a teen, you start getting drawn more into the adult world, and you leave all the fun behind. It's more of, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that, missing out on your childhood. The last main character is very different from the other three, because he's not in high school. He's actually a freshman in college. The rest of the other three are freshmen in high school, I believe, freshman or sophomore in high school. But Scott, played by Jacobsen, is actually a college freshman. So he's home for the summer from college, and he's thinking about not going back to school because of a bad breakup he had with his girlfriend, and painful memories, and the fact that they both go to school together would make it awkward. So that's the decision he's contemplating. And then while picking up his sister from the high school he used to go to, he finds a picture of his sister, and in the background there's him talking with his two twin girls in the back of the picture, and the twins are actually played by Nikita and Jade Ramsey, in case you recognize the names at all. And it's one of those things, he looks back, he wonders whatever happened to them, kind of nostalgic kind of thing. Whatever happened to those girls? Whatever happened to the relationship I had with them, the friendships and everything? Why did I lose contact? And it's one of those things now, it's nagging him, and he wants to find these girls, reconnect with them, and find, rekindle, the friendship that they all used to have. And then it turns into one of these kind of cat and mouse games where the girls figure out why he's there. That he pulls a little white lie and says that he's just there visiting a friend, and then happen to see them going into the gym for the freshman sorority sleepover, and they ends up finding out that he was just there for them. And they played this kind of game. It's like, one of us had a crush on you back then. Can you guess who? And it's one of those things that he's trying to guess which one of the girls had a crush on him. And I think for both of them, both Scott and the twins, especially the one that had a crush on him, it's one of those lessons they both learned where holding back on something sometimes can lead to regret and missing out on something that could have been. They're always thinking about what could have been, and also the fact that not every choice we make in life is going to be the right choice, especially when you're growing up. So that's kind of the key thing I think that Scott got out of his storyline. Now, a few things I wanted to point out about the movie is, number one, the camera is a special kind of camera they use to give it an appearance as if it's an older style footage film. When you watch the movie, you'll actually think it's probably a movie from the 60s, probably even 60s, 70s kind of film. And it actually, that older look actually kind of helps keep what the director wanted to get out of the movie. When you watch the movie, there's no cell phones, there's no pop culture references, and the music is more kind of campy kind of thing, so that the movie's timeless. It was nice when because in attendance they had Amanda Bauer, Marlon Morton, Amy Seimetz, and Douglas Diedrich, which are Claudia, Rob, Julie, and Steven, respectively. And they were talking about how the director wanted to keep the movie timeless, so it doesn't matter who's watching the movie, it appeals to everybody. So if I'm watching the movie, I can say, oh, I went through that growing up, or I can understand that I went through something similar to that when I grew up. And then the person sitting next to me could be, a baby boomer who could be saying the same thing. Oh, I remember when I was that age, I went through that. And it's one of those key things, so that it's a movie that ties everybody in. It's something about growing up, and everybody grows up, and although the experiences might not be exactly the same, some of the general situations, some of the things growing up can have similarities with everybody. Doesn't matter what generation, there's going to be a lot of similarities. Everybody grows up generally the same way, especially in our society. This movie was also part of the new directors competition. Unfortunately, it didn't win. I thought it was a very good contender for new director film, but it didn't win. But I know it did win at best ensemble or best cast at the South by Southwest Film Festival down in Austin. So that was nice. And we were also told that the director's in the process of producing a DVD within the next year for the movie. So if you want to get a chance to catch the movie, probably by 2012, there might be a DVD that you can purchase and buy and see for yourself. I'm gonna give this movie a B+. This was the first movie I saw at the film festival. The first night the actual film started rolling out. It wasn't the opening night, but it was the first night where the film started. All the different films started showing, and I thought it was good for the kind of film it was. It was very good. I think the lighting could have been better, but the way the actors handled themselves, it was more natural. It wasn't anything scripted or anything. It was almost as if you can identify with the characters. Now, if you're gonna watch this film, don't think of it as a popcorn flick, big blockbuster. Don't think of it as a multi-nominated Oscar film, unique artsy film. It's just plain old coming of age and ending of summer film. And if you just look at it with that kind of eyes, just more relaxed and watch it for what it is, I think you'll see that it's a really good movie. So there you go. I'm gonna leave you with pictures that I took with the actors from the movie. And other than that, until the next movie review, class dismissed.
And the first time that I saw you, I couldn't take my eyes off you. I couldn't turn my silly head